Second, Mrs. Costa. Dr. McGee, roll call, please.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to seal the closed session minutes of September 13, 2023. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Mrs. Costa. Dr. McGee.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Please stand and join me with a moment of silence and the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now go to good and welfare. And for anyone addressing the school committee this evening, please begin with your name and address. Your comments shall be no more than 5 minutes of speaking time and should be in good decorum. Please be aware that the committee cannot respond to you during good and welfare, but may direct you to an appropriate member of the administration team or meet with you directly after the meeting for further discussion. Do we have anyone who would like to address the school committee? Please come to the microphone. Seeing and hearing none, we'll go into recognitions and announcements. Dr. McGee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have some great recognitions and announcements this evening. The first I'm going to start with is probably the one I'm most excited about, and this is the first school committee meeting where our Woonsocket High School student representative is going to be starting his journey with the Woonsocket School Committee and acting as a conduit between Woonsocket High School, the student body, and myself and the Woonsocket School Committee. So I want to welcome Matthew Cuson here, who's a senior from Woonsocket High School. Welcome, Matthew.
Good, Matt.
Looking forward to working with you and very excited to have you here. So thank you, Matthew. I have some other very important appointments that I want to introduce this evening. I'm honored to introduce Mr. Kyle Quadros as the Director of Social Emotional Learning, Mental Health and Wellness for the Woonsocket Education Department. In May of 2011, Kyle received his master's degree in special education, ESL endorsement from Arizona State University, and in June 2013, he completed the principal residency network at Johnson & Wales University. Mr. Quadros has previously held positions as a special education teacher, dean of students at a public charter school, head of school, mentor principal, and the head of lower school at Henry Barnard at Providence Country Day. Based on Kyle's education and 14 years of experience in education, I'm very happy to welcome and appoint Mr. Quadros as the Director of Social Emotional Learning, Mental Health and Wellness for the Woonsocket Education Department. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
I am equally honored to introduce Mr. Jonathan Weinberg, who is here this evening, as principal of Harris Elementary School. In 1999, Jonathan received his master's degree in education from the University of Massachusetts and is currently attending Harvard Business School for an education certificate in school management and leadership. Mr. Weinberg was a classroom teacher for 20 years, and for the past 4 years, he's held the position of assistant elementary principal. Based on Jonathan's education and 24 years of experience in education, I am very happy to welcome and appoint Mr. Jonathan Weinberg as a principal of Harris Elementary School.
Yeah.
I am honored and pleased to introduce Mr. Safdar Mahmood as assistant principal of the Woonsocket Area Career and Technical Center. In December 2021, Safdar received his Master's of Education from Bridgewater State University, and in May 2011 completed the Teacher Certification Program at Framingham State College. Mr. Mahmood was a secondary classroom teacher for 11 years. Based on Safdar's education and his experience in education, I'm very happy to welcome and appoint Mr. Safdar Mahmood as assistant principal of the Woonsocket Area Career and Technical Center. And Mahmood is here. Welcome. very excited to welcome our new students and administrators to the Woonsocket Education Department. St. Joseph Church held a back-to-school supply drive with all donations benefiting the students of the Woonsocket Education Department. Altogether, the church collected a significant amount of glue sticks, pencils, highlighters, pens, notebooks, and crayons, just to name a few items that we received. Thank you to the parishioners of St. Joseph's Church for their generous donation of school supplies. It's not too often that we're given the opportunity to express our gratitude and appreciation to a company that consistently donates back to school supplies to the Woonsocket Education Department. Over the years, the Thermo Fisher staff members have held school supply donation events to support Woonsocket students and classroom teachers. On behalf of the students and staff of the Woonsocket Education Department, we thank Thermo Fisher for their generous donation of school supplies each year and for all of the support that they have shown not only for our children, but to our families alike. Thank you again to that organization. And with that, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my recognitions and announcements this evening.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Anyone, any other comments for Dr. McGee? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the recognitions and announcements. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll go to the approval of minutes. The first set of minutes we had tabled, which were the June 14, 2023 closed meeting minutes. So I'll make a motion to remove them off the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
So before us, we have the June 14, 2023 closed meeting minutes, and I'll make a motion to approve them. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. Any changes, corrections to those minutes? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to remove from the table the June 28, 2023 closed meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc and Mrs. Costa. Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to approve the June 28, 2023 closed meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. Any changes to those minutes? Me?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to approve the August 23, 2023 open meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke and Mr. Leclerc. Do we have any changes, corrections to those minutes? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, we'll address the consent agenda, so I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. Does anyone want to take anything out of order or discuss anything within the consent agenda? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, we'll go into communications. Dr. McGee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This evening, we have communications, school-based social emotional learning work groups. So we're going to have a brief presentation here this evening with Mrs. Barboza, Mr. Ernest, if you would kindly step to the podium. And we have actually, I see, why don't you all go up? Why not? Yeah, come on, go on.
Hi. I was about to say good morning, so that's the kind of full day that I've had. So thank you for having us. We wanted to share the work that we've done this summer with the SEL work group through the Project Aware funding that made this entire venture possible. So we met this summer pretty intensely. Mr. Ernest is going to lead us off just to explain kind of give the frame of what the work that we did, and then we're going to kind of bounce around. So we have Mr. Ernest here tonight, assistant principal of the 9th grade academy at the high school, and we have Mandolin Holiday, a senior at Woonsocket High School, who was a key member of our work group representing the students.
I just first want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of the board. I want to give a shout out to our peer mentor group, and obviously we have one of our star mentors here, but we have almost doubled in size in the short time that I've been in the district. Well over 100 upperclassmen that were instrumental in helping us with orientation, helping our freshmen that might need a hand finding their rooms, their schedules, and also they participated in the summer work. And the summer work for the Social Emotional Learning Committee involved a year-long process that started in May and ended in August. So they've done a lot of work this summer to look at all the different functions of our social emotional supports for students, from behaviors in all the common areas. They built rubrics. We've developed a whole list of school values, and I'm going to kind of turn the mic over to our friends. But I just want to say thank you to the members of the committee, and it was teachers, administrators, and most importantly, students. So with no further ado.
So we actually invite you down. We have a little presentation to
Oh,
show
sure.
you, to give you an overview of the work that we have done.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna, it's too slippery. I'm not going up and down. I don't.
I always love a microphone, but I don't, so I will use the microphone. But, okay, so welcome to our summer SEL work. I want to highlight that the work that went in from our colleagues in the district. So we have Kathy here from Pothier Citizens. We have, what were the other elementary schools? Just you. And the middle schools. And then Hamlet and Villa were like essential in us developing this because we worked with them and they really laid the foundation for where to start. So that's key in what helped us propel forward so fast. So these were all the meetings that we did this summer. These were all the adult team members and our student team members, of which Mandolin here was one of them. So we met a lot, and we kept the cycle going of checking in with students first and then following up with the adults and then bringing it back to the students to make sure that they felt what their that their vision was being recognized. So these were our goals at the beginning of summer, the basics of PBIS, or positive behavior intervention and supports, are these 5 elements: that you define your values, that you have expectations for shared spaces, you develop an acknowledgement system, you create levels or categories with associated definitions of unwanted behaviors, and then how those adults are going to respond to that unwanted behavior. So starting in January of last year, we actually started doing teacher surveys and student surveys, and they like had the same results. So it was actually really lovely to see that these respectful, responsible, and safe were really in agreement throughout our school. So there wasn't any squabbling or anything we had to do. It was everyone wants the same thing. We want a respectful, responsible, safe school. And we'll share this slideshow with you. We have the data linked in here so you can see what those results were and how we came to that came to these 3 values. And then these were the definitions that we developed with our students and the adult team members. So respectful means we value each other's thoughts, feelings, and identities by treating others as they would like to be treated. Responsible means we take ownership of our actions and responses and recognize how they impact ourselves and others. And safe means we create and sustain social, emotional, and physical wellness for ourselves and others. And we have these posters around the school. We're going to be getting more so that it's just everywhere. Every teacher has a classroom set. So we're really trying to just have it everywhere, that this is how things are going to be. And we're going to have some banners made, eventually some updated light pole banners made. So again, that this messaging is everywhere. We also worked with I know it's very small, so just know that good stuff is up there. Take our word for it. But part of this then is the places that we are in as common areas. What are those expectations that fall in alignment with our values: respectful, responsible, and safe? So hallways and stairwells, bathrooms, cafeteria, offices, library, outside, bus, assemblies, field trips. We came up with some pretty big lists, and then we had to really cull it down to the most important points. And these also are going to have posters everywhere in the school where like all the hallway stuff will be in the hallway, all the bathroom signs will be in the bathroom. So similar to you'll see here on either side of the stage. So how the middle school has their expectations for the cafeteria, like we have the same, but our version at the high school. One of the things that we did is we experimented with some community outreach. So we went to one of the Levitt AMP series and had the expectations, and we're seeking community feedback on that. It was actually really great. We didn't get as much feedback as we were hoping to, but the experience was good to get out there. There were some students from the middle school, and just to be engaged with the community, it gave us some ideas for how we could do that more moving forward. I believe you were there, yeah. So you can ask him how it was.
How'd it go, Al?
Okay, so for the acknowledgement systems, I'm actually going to turn it over to Mandolin to talk about what that's going to involve. We're actually going to be rolling it out tomorrow / until next week. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Oh, you got it.
Okay, so for the acknowledgement system, so we are working on rewarding positive behavior and promoting the positive behavior in our school because we don't really see a lot of that. So we're giving out these Nova notices as a way to say thank you for doing what you're expected of in our community. And we will be raffling off gift cards or concert tickets, like dance tickets, things that kids our age would want to redeem that have some worth to them. So it's like an encouragement to them to be model citizens. So we worked a lot went into us developing the unwanted behaviors, the categories and definition. We categorized them into minor, major, and safety. So that is the severity of the problem, and then how will we respond to that in order to have, So in order to have the positive corrections and not just saying, no, don't do that, instead do this, and just coming at it at a different way, just trying a different approach to improve our school and how we function. And then again, the adult responses, refining the adult responses in order to different issues that we come across day to day. Next, we have our rollout plan. So for the first couple of days, we at the new teacher orientation, we presented this social emotional learning plan to the other schools that were working on it. So we gathered ideas from that and also added it to our plan in order to share ideas that otherwise wouldn't have been introduced into our system. And so for the first month, first days, we have our assemblies to obviously the new students and to existing students of, hey, this is what we're doing this year. We want you guys to be the role models and be our model citizens. And so for for the school year, the calendar snapshot, we're doing things in advisory, focusing on our social emotional learning, because that, I guess would say, was a problem area, because advisory was used for, yes, it's used for your class time, you're independent, doing what you need to do to be doing well academically, but also working on ourselves as people. And
I just want to highlight as well that one of the most awesome things about starting this year, as Mr. Ernest had said, was the peer mentors. And the peer mentors helped us develop the back to school assembly slideshow for the students. We did skits where they were modeling like good, like kind of poor responses versus better responses. And it was really great to see it be like student led. I think it sank in a little bit better than if it was just an adult talking head at the students. This is just a lot of stuff to say that we have plans to meet throughout the year to make sure that we're staying on top of it. And probably most importantly is that behavior team meeting that has the star in it. We've already had our first of the year. We're going to be meeting every 2 weeks where we'll be looking at data and trying to identify trends and respond to that. So the tech department's been really great. We've been working with Amanda and Skyward and seeing how we can better utilize that system to get data. We can pull data. It's been great. We can pull graphs and everything. So that was also something that came out of this that was really good. And then you want to take over?
Yep. We have Ms. Weiner, our Dean, Kate Weiner, is going to be our Tier 1 behavior team lead. She has a degree in social working, and I worked with her last year for the entire year, so really, really pleased to have her in that position. We have a positive behavior intervention and supports person coming. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So that will be determined. But that ties in nicely. We have the social emotional piece. We have the positive interventions, we have the multi-tiered systems of support, and then we have the restorative piece as well. So I think the committee has done a really good job of blending all 4 of those initiatives into what we want to be able to know and be able to do at Woonsocket High School. A really, really huge thank you to our community partners. Your support from the school committee is awesome. I think our New England Base Camp coaching, we have RIDE and our school improvement funding. We have coaches, we have teachers on our committee, administrators, most importantly, students and parents. And also we're tying in with the Nonviolent Institute and Mentor Rhode Island. So there's more, but there's just a few that I just wanted to say thank you. And that concludes our presentation.
I have a bad habit of like one more thing. But I would be remiss if I did not give a proper shout out to Michelle Valencia. She is, yes, she hates the attention, but she has been the steady drumbeat that has been pushing this work forward even before it was on anyone's radar. She's been living it, and she has been a really great support. She's been right there, a great partner in this work, and none of this would be happening without her. So just want to give her her due. Yeah, we will be sending that to you guys.
Absolutely.
And if you have any questions in any of the links or any of the data, we're happy to explain it. So thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I wish we could. That'd be funny.
I got nothing.
Oh, you got nothing. All right.
That was good.
That was really an excellent presentation, by the way. Again, congratulations. Well done.
So I would like to, again, thank Mrs. Barboza, Mr. Ernest, Mrs. Valencia as well, and Mandolin as one of our amazing Woonsocket High School students who, and Mr. Ernest, said when he was speaking a moment ago, the most important piece to this are our students. And it's a great example of our students being a part of the process and providing feedback and providing input because we're here because of our students. So I want to thank Mandolin and all of the other amazing students at Woonsocket High School who were a part of creating this wonderful process at Woonsocket High School. But wait, there's more. That seems to be the theme this evening.
Wait,
So as Karen and Brian were saying, this was work that was done across the district, and another school that worked very hard this summer was the Pothier Citizens Elementary School. So very, very happy and honored to have Kathy Carvalho, principal of Pothier Citizens Elementary Campus, here to explain the work that they did over the summer. Can we get technology over there, please?
He's like, I'm coming.
Right?
How come we don't have
Do you
one?
want to spend your time in public comment? Knock yourself out. Yeah. Noted. Let's make sure Alan gets that mic.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I don't have a wonderful presentation, but really, if I did, it would look just like that because we worked so closely together. I do want to thank Project Aware and Hannah Goodwin Brown from New England Base Camp, as well as many of the directors sitting here. It was so nice to sit in a room with high school, middle school staff and be on the same page. So the special thing about that for our students is they're going to learn at the elementary level what positive behaviors look like, how we can make better decisions. And then we have these little magical cards we're handing out, and then they'll see it at Hamlet and Villa, and then they'll see it at the high school level. So we're really far-reaching with this plan, so it's not like another thing and it's one and done, it's not going anywhere. And I'm excited. We haven't gotten as far as sharing it with students yet in a big way, but we're getting there. So I gave you a little brochure, but the process for Pothier Citizens started back in the winter when our school piloted the connection survey. So that was every teacher and staff member took a survey online. They looked at every of the 819 students at Pothier Citizens, and they checked if they knew their name and if they knew something about them. We used the data to show that most of us know most of the students, but we don't always make those necessary connections. And it was a turning point for my school staff and the culture and climate where data doesn't lie. So when they looked at the hard data and said, wow, the line for learning about the kids or making connections is pretty flat. So when we were awarded the work to be in the summer work group, that's what kind of pushed us to make decisions on what we wanted to do this year to be different and better. So we had a SOAR program last year, which is our behavior management. And this year we made it much bigger. Last year it was just at the classroom level. The kids and the teacher worked together to say what the S, the O, the A, and the R would represent in their classroom. And they worked towards getting little dots every time they did a good job and got compliments. But this year we now have posters in all the shared spaces with the expectations. And we, in our master schedule this year, we gave a 20-minute SEL period every day of the week for the staff. They're partnered up with another adult. This month, we are just doing team building, getting to know you activities. Obviously, a lot of the things that you need to know at the beginning of the year with rituals and routines in the classroom and the schools. And then in that SEL, we did all the work for the teachers. So it wasn't something that they had to worry about. They have a calendar and they just click on the calendar, and whatever they want to work on with the kids, it's all done for them. There's PowerPoints, there's games. We had posters made of the district definition, which was created last year with the SEL team that I'm also on. And they represent the languages in our schools, so they're posted in both school lobbies. Then we worked with pre-K and learned that they have an SEL ritual that they do in pre-K, but it can be grown and used up through grade 12. So it was nice to include them in the work this summer. You'll see in the little brochure that I shared with you, now we're giving little cards, as is the high school, Catching Kids Being Good. And we have a SOAR zone and a SOAR store where they can use these cards to have extra recess, lunch with the principal, lunch with a friend. We're doing fine dining for students that are doing a good job, where they'll eat up on the stage with like tablecloth and rewarding them for nice behavior once a month. Every classroom and space at Portland Citizens now has a calm corner where the kids, we have to model and teach them how to use their emotions in a proper way. So they can go over there and if you ever get a chance to come look at some of them, very creative. There's soft spaces to sit. One person emptied out a closet in the classroom, put nice lights in there. There's old pillows, and it has breathing posters. So they're doing a good job to try to help the kids with those emotions that are really big, that can become very disruptive. We also, and it didn't print, so the lanyards with the word name in the middle of it, we purchased lanyards for the kiddos that they're going to put their name, and then we purchased stickers. So we had them do a survey on their favorite food, their favorite animal, what do they like to do in their spare time, and they will have them, so their lanyards go this way, and each of the corners will have a sticker representing something they like. Staff's going to do it as well, so when we're walking down the hall, we can say, hey, I have a dog, what kind of dog do you have? So that we're learning more about the kids, and when they do their connection survey, which we're doing at Portia this year, they'll all have at least that one adult that they feel safe to go to if they're having a hard time and they have made the much needed connections. We're having an SEL parent event in multiple languages. We're trying to be more inclusive. We have a lot of MLLs at Portia Citizens. So we're going to do like a station rotation that's on the back, where we're helping them with routines for the students, peer conflict versus bullying, and things to that nature. And then in a big way, at the beginning of October, and you'll all be getting an invite, we're rolling out SOAR to the students. And we're doing a high five event where you'll all be invited. And we also have commitment from the high school football team and cheerleaders and band to start off our behavior system in a big way and get the kids excited about getting caught being doing the right thing. And we have the SEL team that's continually meeting. We do have a tier 1 person that was appointed. It's one of our social workers. So we're really trying to do everything in a positive manner. We also, like the high school, have tiers, what is a minor offense to, an office referral, and really trying to be proactive with modeling good behavior and coming up with ways for staff and teachers to work with students in a more positive way. And we think this connection piece is the missing link. So the more we do on that, I think the better the behavior will be and the more fun we'll have in school, and there will be a lot more learning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are we done with communications? No other presentations, Dr.
There
McGee?
are no other presentations this evening. I'd like to just, commend, Mrs. Carvalho and her team at Portia Citizens, and the students. This is some amazing work that they've done, and that other leaders and teachers and staff and students have done this summer to prepare for this school year around supporting our students' social emotional needs. And I'm really, really proud of the work that we've been doing, and we're going to continue to do here in Woonsocket. So thank you very much for all that you've done to support our kids.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Well done. Next, I'll ask you, Dr. McGee, to give us your superintendent's report.
Thank you.
It's not on my list. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'll begin with personnel matters. So as the committee is aware, we have been very busy filling open positions. To date, we have 12 teaching positions that are vacant that we're in the process of trying to fill. We have 2 administrative positions that we are in the process of trying to fill. And probably the most alarming number is the paraprofessionals. That has been, to say it's been challenging is an understatement. We have 43 para positions unfilled at this point in time. You know, Woonsocket's not alone. Doesn't make me feel any better to know that we're not alone, but we're working hard. Our Human Resources Department, along with our Special Education Department, they're really working on creative ways to try to, you know, get more individuals to apply for the paraprofessional positions. But it certainly has been an extreme challenge to date. You have in your folder here, you have the listed positions that we filled, non-certified, certified, et cetera, as you normally, you know, will get. Any questions? Does any member of the committee have any questions with respect to personnel matters before I move on to the second agenda item?
You mentioned that, you know, HR or personnel are working hard to get paras. What exactly is being done?
So we've reached out. The committee's recalls that we had bids most recently in attempting to work with organizations to provide us with staff, teaching staff and paraprofessionals. I know we had a meeting today with one of the organizations to see if they can provide us, you know, more assistance. So we have we're reaching out beyond the organizations that we've worked with in the past. And there were a variety of groups that bid on the RFP that we had recently. So we're kind of going from one to the other. If the first one, if they can't provide us, you know, with folks, then we're moving to the next one, and then we're moving to the next one. So we're trying. It's just, I don't know if it's just a result of COVID, and that we're still having difficulty filling some of these positions, you know, which started during the COVID pandemic. But we are working hard. I know, you know, Mrs. Morell and Ms. Kitchen have been working really hard trying to, as has Mr. Perrier, in trying to find people to fill these positions, but it's challenging.
Any other comments, questions for Dr. McGee on this section? Dr. McGee,
So
please.
the second agenda item is the 23-24 school year opening. It's overall, I think it's been a good opening. We've had some situations, unfortunately, at the secondary level where we've had a lockdown at the high school. And of course, there was a situation within the community where there was an unfortunate shooting. You know, both, I think, outside of our control within the district. However, I just want the committee and the community to know that, you know, when it comes to the safety of our students and our staff, that's our priority. And we are always looking to evaluate our responses to emergencies as they happen so that we can improve upon things when we need to, and really supporting our students and our staff. You know, we talk a lot about, and we do provide a lot of social emotional supports, and we're going to continue to do that. But I would say that overall, in the conversations I've had with administrators and staff and just observations I've made being in the buildings, it has been a very smooth opening. Today we conducted our first learning walk, our district learning walk. It was right here at Hamlet Middle School. And I was very, very pleased and impressed to see some terrific instruction happening, students being engaged in their lessons. One of our focuses this year instructionally is on student engagement, and we're actually, our administrators we're going to be part of a book club where we're reading about student engagement and what does that look like, active student engagement versus passive student engagement, and what we saw today was the majority, if not everything we saw, was on the side of active engagement. So that was very promising, and I'm really excited and looking forward to continuing those learning walks so that we can provide our students with the best learning environments, that we possibly can. Lastly, ALICE training. The committee is aware that we started ALICE training with our staff. For those of you who may not be aware of what ALICE training is it's providing our staff and our students with options during emergency situations that may occur throughout the school day. So for example, we're all familiar with a typical lockdown. Unfortunately, we're all familiar with those. And in a lockdown, there are very certain specific things that students and teachers do. They stay where they are until, the lockdown is lifted. The ALICE training provides more choices. So for example, if there's a situation, God forbid, in a school, and that teacher knows that he or she can get their students out of that area, then that's what they do. They don't necessarily just stay where they are and wait to be released. It might be a situation where it makes more sense to stay there and not to leave, but we provide our teachers, staff, and our students with options. So having said that, we started the training process with the Woonsocket Police Department. Our school resource officers, we have 4 of them in the district, and they're all ALICE, certified ALICE trainers. So on the professional development day, which was August 29th, in the morning, the entire district was presented at the high school with the introductory presentation about ALICE. That day we started, the Woonsocket Police and our SRO started training, scenario training with our high school and middle school staff. That has been completed. There may be some staff who are not necessarily assigned to the middle schools or the high school, but our district staff that happen to be there during the day, they will be trained at a later date. And we're in the process. We've started training our elementary staff. We've started with Savoy Elementary School. Those trainings will be done on Wednesdays during the ALT, common planning time, that our elementary staff utilize. It's an hour every Wednesday morning. We've scheduled those dates moving into October, so that is going to be coming up for our elementary teachers and staff. We are going to be scheduling, we actually scheduled it, but we had to cancel it. But Mr. Notariani and myself are scheduling a meeting with our principals, assistant principals, and our SROs to talk about how we're going to roll that ALICE information out to our students. Students are not going to be trained as our staff were trained in terms of scenario training. But we are going to share what ALICE is, what it means, what the expectations are when we after we meet with the SROs. We want to make sure that we present it in a way where, obviously, if you're presenting it to an elementary student versus a middle school student versus a high school student, it's going to be very different. It's going to look very different. So we're going to be meeting soon to discuss that. And in addition to that, the next group of stakeholders would be our families. So at some point in October, I will be scheduling opportunities for our parents to come in and receive that information so that they're aware of what that ALICE training is, why we're doing it, and what it would potentially look like. So we've come a long way in a short time, but we still have more training to do. And so I'm excited about that. Again, it provides more opportunities for our students and our staff, should they be ever, God forbid, involved in a situation like that. We welcome any questions that the committee might have at this time.
Any comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chair Burke.
just to offer to the community, the acronym ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. And those are the areas that, you see in the scenario as people work through, different options, so.
Exactly. And there are many other communities, school districts that utilize the ALICE training. And there are other types of ALICE trainings that are very similar. The one that our SROs and our police happen to be certified in is ALICE.
At my previous school where I taught, we were trained in ALICE several years.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the superintendent's report. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have no school subcommittee reports this evening, so we'll go into conferences and discussions. And I'll ask Mr. Notoriani to give us the technology and facilities update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this evening you have a memo in front of you that highlights that update. So as of today, we have 132 work orders in the system for technology. The technicians are working to resolve these issues as quickly as possible. And as the committee may recall, I promised that this year the technology department would pass out Chromebooks for the start of the school year. So that's exactly what we're doing. We finished passing out the middle school Chromebooks last week, and we expect to complete the distribution for all 4 grade levels at the Career Tech Center and high school by tomorrow, with Makeup Day on Friday, and then pushing into next week for any students that may have not been in. So this is significantly earlier than what occurred last year at the beginning of the year, if you may recall. In addition to that, we're still installing televisions here at the middle school. Wiring for security cameras at this school and the school next door is currently occurring. I believe the wiring crew's next door because we're meeting this evening. And we're also doing cybersecurity upgrades, which is required by the trust. Our data staff continues to provide support for the start of the school year. And so in conjunction with just getting things up and running, they're also working on our RIDE and state reporting for October 1st. I know the committee will expect an update about our enrollment numbers. We usually do that the second meeting of October. And we're on task for having our submission ready to RIDE for October 1st and to be able to report out enrollment numbers at the second meeting in October. Student registration, it's been so busy downstairs that every time I went down to see the registration clerk, she had multiple parents, so I wasn't able to get a number from her today, but we have a steady flow of people still registering to attend school here in Woonsocket, which is a positive. Our facilities and custodial services, all the staff are working very hard. We have 1 vacant position. We have various openings for lunch monitors and crossing guards, but we've had some success in hirings in the last couple of weeks. And we'll have an opportunity to hire custodial subs for the first time. So I'd like to thank Ms. Kitchen for her efforts because in the short time she's been here, she's found quite a few candidates to fill positions that we've struggled for the last year. So thank you very much. Mm-hmm. As of today, for facilities, we have 141 work orders in the system. We are making progress, and if we continue at this pace, I'm expecting by November, which does sound a little farther away, but I'm expecting by November to only be within a 1-month response time, and hopefully we'll catch up even further. But at 141 work orders, we're still significantly behind with all the need in the district. In addition to that, we did complete the AED audit. If you recall, the committee had some concerns about our AEDs when we were talking about the policy. We completed the audit, and tomorrow, Mr. Perrier and I have a meeting with the company to review the audit and see their recommendations as to where we may need to add AED units or upgrade them across the district. In addition to that, we'll also be placing Narcan in those locations with the label as we promised, as the administration promised a few months back, whenever it was we talked. The faculty, ROTC Transpro conversion at the high school is almost complete. We're a little behind schedule because we're waiting for some of the furniture and the walls to come in, the divider walls, but 2 of the 3 classrooms have been located there. And then overall faculty and staff movements, most of it went smoothly. We did run into some hiccups at the high school. Unfortunately, there was a late submission there, but I would like to thank Mr. Ernst and Ms. Barboza. I think Ms. Barboza left, but importantly, Mr. Ernst and Ms. Barboza were exceptional in assisting the facilities department in moving forward with some of the moves. So they really stepped up and helped, and I really much appreciate that because we got some of the requests as late as August 25th, 26th, and that was 3 days before school started. So in addition to that, I've provided in the past, we have student furniture is going to be arriving a few months from now for the high school. We're also receiving all new whiteboards for every classroom at the high school. The auditorium renovation, we have a meeting at the end of the month on the 21st, I believe, to get our final submission into RIDE to finally start that project, which will be a complete overhaul of the auditorium. We received, we have HVAC repairs at Hamlet and Villanova pending, and there's something later in the agenda we'll talk about a little further. Woonsocket High School Science Labs, next week we'll be meeting with the science department staff and started identifying labs that we're going to renovate between now and December. And then we also have the lighting upgrades at the high school and Career Tech Center, and there's an item on the agenda for that a little later on as well. So all of this is being done through grant funding. It's not coming out of local. Mr. Perrier was able to secure grants for many of those projects. Transportation, Durham School Services has requested to meet with me to discuss arrival and dismissal at our schools. They are currently running late at most buildings, and I'll be providing an update to this appropriate subcommittee and the full school committee once I hear what they have to say. Safety and security, the additional access control units, key fob systems should be completed by the end of this month. They're still waiting on a few parts, unfortunately. We'll be distributing additional radios and walkie-talkies to to all the schools that have requested them. But it's worth noting that the radios were approved by the committee in August. They are not due to arrive here in the district until November or December. So I did notify the principals, and I'm hoping that they've notified their staff, so the staff think or know that they're coming. But that I did send out my own update, but hopefully they've shared that. And then the repeaters for the middle schools, which will assist our public safety departments in terms of communicating with radios in the building. The repeaters should be installed probably by November. The wiring is going to be installed in the next couple of weeks. I had a meeting with the installation company, and they're hoping to have it done in November. And that concludes my report, if there's any questions.
Mr. Notoriani, regarding transportation, do we know if Durham's got enough drivers? Or is that part of the issue, or?
So they've not indicated there's enough drivers. So interestingly, I've requested from Durham each day an update email. I've noticed, I don't think they're aware that I've noticed, but I've noticed I've not been getting an email every day, which is usually an indicator that something's going on. So they did reach out and say they would like to meet. I will be meeting with them, I'm hoping tomorrow, to discuss exactly what's occurring. And then we will go from there. This is the last year of their contract. And, it goes out to bid.
Sure.
Hopefully, they're not the low bidder this time.
Okay. Any other comments for Mr. Notoriani? I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the technology facilities update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have no unfinished business and new business. I understand this number one item is to be withdrawn.
That's correct. That is correct, sir. Yes.
Okay, so we're not going to discuss.
No, we're not. We found that this particular item, which was an MOU with Leadership Rhode Island, if the committees recalls, Miriam Kaba, a Woonsocket High School student, received the Pepito Foundation grant. And so the high school had started working with Miriam, and we initially thought that there would need to be an MOU signed between the district, but we've since discovered through our legal counsel that we do not need to have an MOU. So I would
Okay.
ask that
Then I'll make a motion to withdraw this item. This number one, the MOU for Leadership Rhode Island. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke and Mrs. Costa. Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the Rhode Island Energy Award for lighting upgrades at the high school, the Career Center, and Leo Savoy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. Dr. McGee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the committee recalls that recently we had a conversation about a grant of $1.3 million, I believe,
Yes.
to provide upgrades, lighting upgrades at the high school, the Career Center, and Leo Savoy Elementary School. So we're in the process now of getting to the point where they're going to start. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Notariani, who's had communication with Rhode Island Energy with respect to this work.
So we received the award letters on Monday, or Tuesday morning. I apologize. I don't remember which. I can forward them to you, but we received the official award letter. So Rhode Island Energy has awarded us enhanced incentives that will cover the cost of installing high efficiency lighting at the 3 locations listed here on the agenda. This is one of the 2 pieces to the award offer that you approved at the end of August. We're waiting for the official letters for the HVAC system here at Hamlet and at Villanova. I did receive a text earlier today indicating that that Rhode Island Energy, the energy company, will be sending somebody out. They want to send someone out on Friday to do a pre-inspection for these 2 buildings. It's part of the approval process. And I'm hoping that for the second meeting in September, we will have award letters to do the HVAC for this building and the building next door. So.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chair Burke?
just a quick question. The work that's going to be done, is this going to be done during the school day? And will it impact classroom learning?
So this work will be conducted as the same way it was conducted at Pothier, Harris, and the 2 middle schools. They'll be coming in the evening for second shift, and they'll do all the work in the evenings.
that's
So there
good.
should be no disruption. Similar to the tinting they're doing now in our windows here and the wiring, they do all that type of work. It comes at a premium cost. It's not a cost to us because it's being funded through this generous program, but it will be second shift.
Okay, thank you. That's good to hear.
Anyone else? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Having nothing else on our agenda, I make a motion to adjourn at 7:56 PM. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned.